And if you want to watch more, follow me on Twitch and YouTube. I stream primarily on Twitch, so come and join the crew on Twitch. Yes, you. I'm staring at you. Yeah, you. Yes. Let's get it.
If you've spent any time online, chances are you've encountered this infamous
Oh my
emoji
God, look at that
character
fine
in
yellow
some
man.
way, somewhere, at some point. His name is Emoticon, a custom.
No. His name is Joe. Not Emoji guy, not Emoti, not guy. His name is Joe. Put some respect on his name.
Customizable smiley face character originally released in 2005. His entire purpose to be a fun, accessible, beginner-friendly 3D model that anyone could download, play around with, and create their own personalized image with. And oh God,
I use them all the time.
People done that. Over the last 2 decades, Emoticon has become easily the most prolific and inescapable emoji character in existence. He's been reposed, reanimated, remixed, and reincarnated hundreds of thousands, if not millions of times. From GIFs and stickers and emojis to animated web series, dedicated fan communities, online cultural movements, endless reaction images and renders, various obscure video games, and even dubious cryptocurrency.
Oh my God, not
projects.
the Joe coin.
But this character, in all his infinite online presence, has a paradoxically unknown origin. The closest anyone ever really gets to who actually made this guy is the 3D modeling studio 3D Universe.
Yeah, who's the creator for this infamous emoji? I'm pretty sure everyone knows this. Like, you guys have seen this emoji, right? You guys have seen Joe? Like, any form of Joe. You guys have seen, like, GIFs, stickers, emotes, like, anything. Modern day Michelangelo. Exactly. This is, like, everyone knows who Joe is. Okay.
Name credited on Emoticon's actual product page, but that's not the creator, that's just the studio
exactly. Who doesn't love Joe?
And for the very few people who have tried to dig through the murky, impenetrable abyss that is this character's origin, at best they've come back with just an alias of the creator, and nobody has had any real contact
That's such a cool
with
name.
them.
Dark Whisper.
Ever. Until now, because I actually found Emoticon's original creator. And not just that, but I reached out to him for an interview and he accepted. And over the course of our conversation, I asked him all about the creation and story behind this beloved, bizarre character. It's been surreal putting this together, so please enjoy my search for the creator of Emoticon, and once I'd found him, my conversation with him.
The Joeverse, everyone, the Joeverse! Welcome to the Joeverse.
February 9th, 2005, Daz 3D, an online marketplace selling 3D models for digital artists, sees a new product appear on its virtual store shelves.
Emoji guy.
This chunky sneakered, pudgy gloved yellow emoticon character was published to the Daz 3D store under the name Emoticon, being what was known back then as a digital puppet. Basically a little virtual mannequin for you to articulate and roll into whatever absurd, amusing content you wanted, coming bundled with 21 pre-made poses, 41 unique facial expressions, 4 additional prop items, and a highly malleable and expressive pre-rigged character model, allowing for fun, accessible
Joe VTuber debut 2026
use in creating a variety of image renders. And although his original product page no longer exists, we can still access this archive of it with the Wayback Machine at the closest retrievable date, February 24th, 2005. Emoticon here, just over 2 weeks old. And as you could expect, this archive is a goldmine of early Emoticon information. Firstly, we can read his at the time freshly printed description as it reads, "Tired of the same old emoticons? Now you can make your own 3D smiley for free. Meet Emoticon, the newest addition to Daz's star lineup of characters. This
you guys telling me
same old emoticons? Now you can make your own 3D smiley for free. Meet Emoticon, the
You guys telling me you won't do anything for this yellow curvy man? Look at him. He has his hand out. Actually, I'm coming, Joe. I'm here. You telling me if he has his hand out, you wouldn't reach out to him?
newest addition to
Free for just $19.95 plus tax. Also, Joe, when I actually in the server, in the Discord server, there's actually a Joe emote. There, it's right there. Look, Joe. It Joe's you. Joe, but with my hair on it.
As his star lineup of characters. This expressive little guy exudes cute yellow happiness like nothing else you've ever seen. This base pack gives you the starting blocks to create all new emotes.
Where can
as
I
well
buy
as
this
give your own spin to some old
free,
favorites. And secondly, we can see he was launched as a Daz original product. He was one of a flagship selection of models Daz liked enough to stamp their name on and showcase as their own. But Daz hadn't made Emoticon themselves. They'd specifically sought him out and bought him from his creator, who is credited here, not by their real name, but by the pseudonym Dark Whisper. Though for some reason, a little over a year later, in June 2006, this credit was changed from created by Dark Whisper to created by 3D Universe.
What the
heck?
It's
remained that way on every instance of Emoticon since. But for the first year and 4 months of Emoticon's life, Dark Whisper was credited as his creator. This Dark Whisper actually having quite the track record in the underground digital puppet scene, which we will be uncovering soon enough. But for now, we just need to know that Dark Whisper, working for 3D Universe, created and then sold Emoticon to Daz 3D, who had purchased and now published him, which means Daz clearly believed Emoticon was worth it and that he would be a significant moneymaker for them.
Oh,
but if that was the case, then why was he on sale here for a 100%?
It's free, but you pay $19.95 in taxes and shipping.
Discount. His regular price listed at just under $20. This sale set to last almost 5 months until June 30th.
Whoa!
But then on June 30th, the sale was extended another 6 months, and skipping ahead again to just after that, another 6 months. And as it turns out, Emoticon remained on sale for 8 years. Each supposed deadline quietly rolling into the next year before finally becoming permanently free in late 2014. Although this may seem like a clone.
Is this Joette? It's Joette! Oh my god, it's Joette! Look at Joette! Where can I get Joette? I don't have a Joette sticker or emo. Where's Joette?
Easily handled sale.
Joette is canonically real.
This was actually a coordinated, if poorly disguised, sales tactic, because as his creator later told me, Emoticon was never meant to be sold. Actually, he was and always had been a promotional character. See, Daz 3D was established in the year 2000, and by 2005, they were really coming into their own as a viable competitor to major pre-established providers in that same niche. Their own flagship 3D software, Daz Studio, launching in the fall of 2005. And to advertise this new software, Daz 3D wanted a new, fun, accessible character that could act more or less as a free trial for it, drawing in potential customers with a low commitment, zero cost, relatively simple model to play around with and hopefully entice them into paying for more later. And to fill this role, they chose Emoticon, a fun, intuitive character equipped with enough geometry and mesh to be sculpted into a variety of forms. He was, by design, easily picked up and experimented with by anyone of any skill level, and therefore incredibly easy to share and spread across the internet. He was hyper-expressive, super approachable, and cost nothing. Why wouldn't you give him a try?
It's so funny seeing
Well,
Joe.
People did.
Look at that. So many Joes. Oh my god. Okay.
Over the next
why am I getting flashed
Emoticon
like this?
burrowed and
I mean, I don't
crawled
mind
his
if it's
little
Joe.
gloved hands into every corner
Joe
of
cut,
the
Joe
internet,
cut.
escaping from the tiny niche of the 3D digital puppet community he came from and exploding into internet-wide use. From the grimy depths of 4chan to the mainstream heights of YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, as well as every image board, forum, site,
oh my god, there's so many
between.
Joes.
By the late 2010s, Emoticon was coming out of a decade and a half of conquest, a decade and a half of stamping himself in every comment section and populating the internet with an endless supply of himself. And for the first time,
Joe angry.
he began to mellow out a little, spending
No.
a few years quietly churning out new renders, GIFs, and images at a smaller scale, just enjoying the reputation he
They're not
made
tapped
for
in
himself.
on Discord because they would know. I
And
forgot.
then Joe Hub happened, and Emoticon was reborn. Joe Hub is
You aren't real if you're not on Joe Hub. Guys, even I'm on Joe Hub. Everyone's on Joe Hub.
a Discord server that was founded on May 3rd, 2020. A server with, as I'm writing this, 67,000 members. A server entirely dedicated to sharing and creating new variants of Emoticon, now nicknaming him Joe. With so many heavy hitters coming out of this new age emoticcultural movement, from the gif of him typing away
oh my god,
on his
I send that all the time,
staring ominously from the shadows, to this comically depressed
I use that all the time.
These all bursting into mass use as a result of Joe Hub's creation. Which brings us to the final, most bizarre twist in this saga.
What?
Bringing us back to Emoticon's creator, Dark Whisper.
Oh,
because
he joined
on
this
August
year.
1st, 2025,
Don't tell me.
Daz 3D sold all rights to the Emoticon IP and character to a cryptocurrency project, Joe Coin, who employed Emoticon as a mascot under the Joe name, with a deluge of new cinematic HD animations and GIFs releasing to promote it, with recent classics like this loop of Emoticon twerking, which I personally remember running into the wilds of Instagram Reels when it came out.
Why are they so bouncy?
Amassing hundreds of thousands of likes, comments, and shares. This whole crypto project actually working alongside Dark Whisper, who re-emerged to the internet via this Twitter account for the first time since 2005.
Is he getting royalties from it?
Now updating us with never before seen early renders, unheard stories, bits of trivia, and development images of Emoticon as he joins us for this cryptocurrency journey. Most fascinating of all of these being this post reading, "Fun fact, originally Emoticon was supposed to be a sunflower-based character inspired by my mother. She said it creeped her out though, and that a normal guy would be more funny. I removed the sunflower and Emoticon was born. This is one of Emoticon's first models made back in 2004. The attached image, a charming, if admittedly kind of creepy prototype version of Emoticon as a silly little sunflower. To think we could have gotten this thing going viral instead is, wait, what's that written along the side of the plant pot? The plant pot of this 2004 Emoticon prototype. 2006. What?
Wait.
What? How can that be there? That's 2 years after he stopped being a sunflower. And come to think of it, I'm getting an off vibe from the way he's speaking in these posts.
Is this
the way
a fake?
He's so easily picking up crypto jargon and splattering his text with XDs and emojis.
No.
This is at youngest a 40-year-old man. Why is he speaking this way? Well, I'm probably overthinking things. I mean, as the comments are pointing out here, if you reverse image search any of these images, there are literally 0 results of them having been used anywhere before. This has to be legit. And to top it all off, the people running this project have been donating all proceeds back to Dark Whisper personally as a thank you. A thank you for his timeless contribution to the internet with this now larger than life but once humble, silly little emoticon character. Or at least, that's what they want you to think.
Oh no.
Because after digging deeper into this crypto project, picking apart this eerily convincing Dark Whisper Twitter account, and speaking to
fake,
Dark Whisper myself, I discovered that this isn't Dark Whisper, but an imposter lying and impersonating them to deceive people into buying this fairy tale story to make a quick, cheap buck off of people's naivety and better nature. But if that's the case, how are they able to put together this otherwise completely believable Dark Whisper profile? In fact, how could anyone find out so much about Dark Whisper without being Dark Whisper? Well, take it from me, if you just dig deep enough.
Well, the editing
Digital
is crazy.
Puppet Magazine was, well, a digital magazine distributed on CD-ROMs that ran from the winter of 1998 to the summer of 2006, releasing once or twice a year and acting as a newspaper for all things digital puppetry. Written, edited, and published by Robert Purser as the premier product of the now long defunct digipuppet.com. Now, miraculously, digipuppet.com, along with the first 9 issues of Digital Puppet magazine, have been archived and are accessible with the Wayback Machine, which provides us with this surreal, otherworldly peek into the obscure economy and landscape of early 2000s characters.
Something about the layout is so, like, nice, you know? It's not like nowadays when you see, like, a digital magazine, you have, like, a bunch of graphics and stuff. And like different fonts and all that jazz, but this is so nice. It's simple. You have your graphic here and all the words. It's nice. It's so, I don't even know if I could call it minimalistic.
Interposing with each issue across their usually 60+ pages, going deep into the latest software, model releases, technology, tools, resources, artists, studios, and so on. And the fact that something this comprehensive ever even existed is a testament to the fact that there was a real, thriving, living market here that had been growing since the late 90s. I mean, most of these issues were going for around $350. Clearly, people cared, which is all relevant for us because this is the world Emotsky was born out of and born for. As shown in Winter 2005's issue number 8, the issue following Emotoguy's release earlier that year, and an issue with him plastered all over it. He's on the front cover, he's climbing up onto text boxes and subtitles, he's adding comic relief from the sidelines, with page 12 entirely dedicated to him. Purser writing, "Here is a wonderful new digital puppet from the company 3D Universe that created the heavies who were featured in our last issue. Most people think that digital puppets are only human or animal figures. Surprise, Emotoguy is just a head with gloves and a simple selection of props. According to Daz, the character has 41 facial expressions and 22 poses. The issue then goes on to detail some stuff we already know, advertising some of the expansion packs, listing the extra props and expressions, and
oh my god, Joette on the pole,
reminding us of that 5-month-long 100% off sale. Now with a flabbergasted Emotoguy render exclaiming, 'My gosh, we are free for a limited time only.' Purser ending the page with, 'I think he will be the most popular digital puppet ever,' which,
it's true.
oh Robert,
You don't even know.
Oh, Robert. The Emoti Guy title here, again underlined with a created by Dark Whisper for Daz Originals credit, which brings me back to that line. Here is a wonderful new digital puppet from the company 3D Universe that created the Heavies, who were featured in our last issue. The Heavies. Huh. I'd never heard of the Heavies, and if they were also from 3D Universe, there's a chance they were also from Dark Whisper, right? So naturally, I looked into the previous issue for them, Summer 2004's issue number 7, where on page 8, titled Wacky Cartoon Animals, I found this selection of anthropomorphic hippo, elephant, and bear characters, all a part of the Heavies collection, which itself was a subset of the Wacky World collection. Attached with them was a small paragraph, which halfway through reads this.
What?
The Wacky World Heavies are produced by Dark Whisper, in brackets, Steve Corder of 3D Universe in Sedgefield, South Africa. Well, there's our guy.
Okay, magazine doxed him. The magazine doxed him. Steve Corder, the original creator of Joe.
Dark Whisper's real name is Steve Corder. Steve Corder is the creator of Emoticon. He's an artist from South Africa working with 3D Universe, a studio that produces exclusively 3D characters and digital puppets. And by looking up Dark Whisper across old early 2000s forums on sites like Renderosity, we can see Steve had already made a name for himself as a significant, respected digital puppet producer. See this thread from May 18th, 2004, with a user asking, what is Dark Whisper's website? To which another user just 3 hours later replied with a link to 3D Universe, which, by going back to archives of it from around this time, may as well have just been called
look
Steve
at that
Corder,
website. It's so simple,
almost
so
every
plain.
upload, tutorial, and news update here being from Steve or Dark Whisper. His works ranging from more traditional, realistic human models and real-world items to very wacky, cartoonish characters and anthropomorphic creatures, which he seemed to really enjoy making and specializing in, and honestly are kind of his trademark. I mean, he clearly has a talent for packing his characters with whimsy and personality, especially when delving into these animals and imaginary creatures. And after seeing this rich, extensive resume of previous character work,
oh my god, I've seen that guy too.
Bottle that is Emoticon begins to make a lot more sense. He was never a fluke or just some goofy throwaway stock character that got lucky. He is a product of Steve Corder, an expert in silly and fun but genuinely well-crafted models. And at this point, I'd hit bedrock. I had dug down to the deepest trenches and oldest archives of Steve Corder's online presence. I'd exhausted the internet of basically all mention of him, and still, I had so many questions. Why did he actually make Emoticon, and how, and with what software? What was the actual creative process like making him? Was it challenging? Was it time consuming? Was it fun? Does he actually know just how impossibly viral and immortal his creation has become? Was that really him working with JoeCoin with that Twitter account?
I doubt it.
Well, it didn't look like I was going to find any of this lying around in the abandoned gutters of the Wayback Machine. If I wanted to find this out, I was going to have to ask Steve myself. And so, I did. I was able to get in touch with the current PA director of Daz 3D, a gentleman by the name Jack Tomlin, who, as his personal website states, had himself been an artist working with Daz for over 18 years prior, which I had hoped meant there would have been at least some overlap between him and Daz's publishing of Emoticon in 2005. So, after finding his contact info, I sent him an email asking if he was aware of or was involved in Emoticon's creation, because if he was, I'd like to ask a few questions.
We love cold emailing big companies.
No, he wasn't. That had nothing to do with him. But if I wanted, he could let Emotigui's creator know himself that I was looking for him, an offer I, of course, accepted. And so I held my breath, crossed my fingers, and hoped for a reply. Just over an hour later, I got an email from a Steve Corner. Hi Lucas, I gather from Jack Tomlin that you are trying to find the creator of the Emoticon figure. I was the creator of that product, so let me know how I can help out.
The Overlord himself.
Steve. Sent from my iPhone. And
oh
just
my
like that, I was speaking to Steve
the man himself.
Corder. And so
Steve.
I replied back, explaining I was putting together a video investigating Emoticon and that to hear from him would be incredibly valuable. I had a few questions to ask him, and even though I knew the answer would be no, I went out on a limb and asked if he'd be comfortable coming on for an interview at some point in the following week. To which, again, just an hour later, he agreed.
Oh my god, the goat.
And, well, here it is.
Steve! You don't even know, Steve!
Thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. But before we get into any of the Emoticon specifics,
oh my god, look
if you
at
wouldn't
him.
mind introducing yourself, how you got into 3D modeling and eventually got working with 3D Universe and DAS 3D.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, I'm Steve. I actually studied to be a programmer, developer, and I was working for a company that gave me a lot of time for each of my projects. The project would be, given sort of like 3 months, and I'd finish it in 2 weeks. So
yeah, can I just say the editing for this video is crazy. Like, I feel so immersed, and like, not one moment I felt bored. You know how some videos are really good in the beginning, and then towards the middle it gets like a bit boring, I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of hard to like watch, but you still watch. And then towards the end it starts, picking back up, and then it ends, right? This video is really well put together. It's really well edited. It like the flow, it just keeps on going. There's never a stale and boring moment. It's crazy. Take notes. I'm taking notes, Polita Loca. I am taking notes. This is retention. This is literally viewer retention at play, because the editing is so good. Like, you can have the same portion of like the video, right? And you can have a buns editor, or like you're editing just buns, and your video will you'll get like 1 view, and that's because of a bot. Yeah, it's going through an entire timeline, and it's just so good. It really is the editing. Now that I'm watching this video, I'm like realizing, damn, retention really is the editing. You really gotta give it your all with editing, so you can just have the viewer just watching and watching and watching. But yeah, that's crazy.
I had a lot of spare time, and when I went to my bosses, they would say, well, this is the time you've been allocated, find something to do. So wow. Yeah, I kind of found something to do.
And that was
I
Joe.
Playing around with 3D. Back at that stage, there was only a couple of 3D sites, and there was 1 or 2 sort of mainstream 3D products. One of them being Poser, which is still around. Haven't used it for a long time though. So I got into using Poser and pretty much just making pretty pictures with Poser. But then quite often I'd want to create an image with maybe a character sitting at a bench or sitting on a chair, and I didn't have the chair. So I kind of taught myself how to model, kind of whatever free programs I could get at that stage. The initial program I used was a program called Sequoia, which I don't think is even around anymore. But yeah, so I used to sort of design very basic things for my art, my images, and I found I was constantly asked by people commenting on my pictures, hey, where did you get that chair, where did you get that table, whatever. And when they found out that I'd created it, they'd like, oh, would you sell it? And yeah, so that was sort of the start of my sales career almost. So that was through a site called Renderosity. I was with Renderosity at that stage, and I basically started.
Whoa! That is not a plate suit.
It was a fairly quick process, because I absolutely fell in love with the whole 3D design, and yeah, so for quite a while I was developing content that I'd sell on Renderosity. And yeah, that was kind of a couple of years, and it actually got to the stage where I was making more from my hobby than I was making from my day job. So myself and my wife decided, let's try this full time. And yeah,
W-Wave.
And I just found with the 3D, being able to actually conceptualize something in my mind and turn it into a character that could have personality on the screen was awesome.
Yeah,
I feel like back then, especially, like, pouring your all into, like, hobbies or, like, stuff like animation and like, 3D art and stuff like that is extremely hard. Although the economy back then was much better than it is now. But W-Wife for saying, yeah, let's do it. Let's invest in this. And now look at him. The creator, the madman, the overlord himself of Joe, the emoji guy. Joe Wife.
That definitely comes across with Emoticon, and I tried finding some of your other works with 3D Universe, like the heavies, which you made a bit before. They definitely also embody that cartoonish, silly, fun style. I mean, has that always been your thing? The more like wacky, unreal, cartoonish characters? Is that something you've always specialized in?
Yeah, definitely. But also when I started off, the kind of characters that you could get out there they weren't realistic. I mean, we weren't at the stage where you had photoreal characters. They were sort of very plastic and unbelievable. But I mean, I've always enjoyed the cartoon, the sort of more wacky, crazy proportions.
Yeah.
So I felt that was more the way to go. Seeing as we couldn't actually create, super real content at that stage. So I sort of graduated more towards making the wacky stuff, and I just fell in love with the whole fact that there's no limits. When you create a realistic human, there's certain things that you can't overdo, but when you create a cartoon there, you can really just push things to the limits, and that's where my passion is. I still do create realistic things and scripts and all sorts of other things, but that's more a case of bringing in the money.
Yeah.
My passion is the cartoon, the crazy, you're pushing
That's
things
wholesome.
to the extreme. Yeah.
Why did you end up creating Emoticon specifically? Was that your own idea, or was that a commission from Daz 3D, or someone else requesting it, or was that an original idea and then you went on to sell it through that platform?
So in 2005, I mean, I was still at Renderosity at that stage, and in 2005, Daz 3D was really sort of coming into their own, sort of upcoming as a competitor almost to the poser market. They were all...
Guys, imagine, not only he's in Joe Hub, what if he's the creator of Joe Hub? You never know. He might be the one that created Joe Hub itself.
Also starting to work on their own software, so they were starting to work on the very first version
Joe
of their
Cott.
studio, and they wanted to start playing around with actually selling content. So I was one of two guys that was actually poached from Renderosity, where Daz actually contacted me and said, okay, we'd love your stuff. We want to buy out your entire store, bring you across to Daz,
Wow.
and be one of the first two merchants there. So I had sort of just moved across to Daz, and with their very first software, they wanted some sort of character that would be fun and easy to play with, but also to show off what their software could do. So it was sort of an idea that I'd been playing around with anyway. I always loved the M&M's characters, and it was always an idea of mine to sort of come up with a similar character.
The M&M's, I just realized the M&M's are like... The M&M's ran so Joe can walk.
Characters, and it was always an idea
Is that how the saying goes?
to sort of come up with a similar character, but going more along with the emojis. Emojis at that stage were only really starting. So I just wanted to create a 3D character based on that sort of concept, but then to try and sort of cover all of the various possibilities that the emoticons could do, the expressions, and so that's why I ended up with giving him a pair of hands and sort of going the way I went. And Daz sort of loved the idea, so they actually ended up purchasing the basic emoji guy from me, and then they had it for free, with the idea being that it would help push their package out there, because they were giving away the package for free, so it would help get their package out there, and people would be able to actually get some content for free to play around with and sort of try and hook people into their package.
Yeah, that makes sense. Then I was going to ask if he was like a promotional character essentially, because then eventually there was the Emote Girl pack. Although I couldn't see if that was that free or was that paid, that one, if you remember.
So no, the Emoji Girl was a separate one.
Joette's real, guys! Joette's real! Look at her in all her glory. And she's shiny too, she's shinier than Joe.
So that was actually
She's gonna make you act up, what? No, that's all you, that's all you. But Joe? That's all me, that's all me. It's Joette.
So there were quite a few extra products that I brought out. There was a Emote Emotions, which was a whole lot of extra emotion shapes, and then there was a whole lot of different prop packs that I brought out, the typical weights and hats and all sorts of things, and all of those were paid products. That's where the paid products came in. So people would pay to sort of upgrade their basic emoji guide to be able to do more.
I wanted to ask what the actual creative process with him was like how long did it take to make him? Was it particularly difficult? What software and stuff? Because I've never 3D modeled. I like to research the stuff. I'm really into the mythos of these characters and looking at the lore of them. But
oh my god, the frog! The gnome! Fair! More Joe, what the guys, this is actually another video. This is another video from the same creator that I saved so we could watch another time. So I'm planning on putting this on the schedule for next week. The origins of these weird gifts. This is a cursed wall. What am I looking at? Oh my god, I just noticed this one. Average 2000s 3D models, but they're so peak. They're so peak because literally everyone uses them right now. So
booted up Blender for the first time ever to see if I could animate a motor guy to any degree. I managed to get him to bob up and down in a little idle animation, but at least from an outsider looking in, the rigging, the skeleton, the different poses, it's like an absolute technical nightmare. So I wanted to know what it was like to actually put something like that together. At that point, was it so second nature to you that it's just like another day at the office, or was it actually a challenge to navigate through something like that? What was it like to make it?
So Emoji Guy was a learning experience for me from the point of view that I hadn't really created that many rigged characters. Up until that stage, a lot of them, I would morph characters that came from Renderosity and Poser specifically. Emoji Guy was one of the first characters that I actually rigged, so it was a massive learning experience. I mean, nowadays
his first rigged character was Joe. That's crazy.
Emoji Guy character in sort of a day or two, but back then it took me probably about 2 weeks of making mistakes and going back to the beginning and starting again, and just learning how to do it, especially with the fact that his hands aren't actually attached to his body in any way. That in itself sort of added.
No, he was passionate. He was very passionate about Joe, because remember earlier in the video, in the description of Joe, it said that this character will be huge one day, and it is. It's everyone knows who Joe is, and not even. I mean, some of you guys said that you knew Joe before his name was Joe. It's just he's so iconic. If you see him in any form, you'll know who he is. It's crazy.
A level of complexity to his skeleton, because his hands can sort of float around completely free. It was definitely a learning experience, even from the modeling side. I mean, emoji guy was actually the first hand I ever modeled. So up until then, and I mean nowadays I look at his hands and I still kind of cringe because there are so many mistakes there. But yeah, that was a good learning experience.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
Hey,
I think it was worth it in the end, those 2 weeks. You've seen what's come of it. So, but also, once Emotoguy was uploaded to the storefront, did you and Daz3D have any control over its use? Like, was there any rights, licensing agreements? Because even like in 2006, I was looking back on some earlier archives of stock image websites like Shutterstock and stuff. There were already loads of, you know, different renders, remodels, reiterations of it. There was this CD-ROM game called Super Aneurysm. I'm not sure if you're aware of that.
Joe game.
Which I had a play of yesterday for an hour or two. It's actually a pretty fun game, but that came out just the year after. So immediately, you know, your character was proliferating all over the internet. Were people allowed to do that? Was it kind of just free reign to the people? Hey, here's this little guy, do what you want with him? Or were you in any talks with people over that? Or is it literally just open season?
Yeah, so basically the license that all of Daz's characters come up with is you're allowed to do anything 2D. 2D images, 2D GIFs, 2D videos. The only limitation is you can't actually distribute the 3D content or the geometry in any way. For that, you need the game license. If they needed the 3D emoji guy in...
Off topic, but this makes me want to watch Tetris. You guys know Tetris the movie? I know some of you guys said it's buns, but I really want to watch it. Yeah.
In a game, yeah, then you would need to actually have a gamer's license. But apart from that, you know, anything 2D. So all of those Shutterstock type sites, that's all part of a license. That's all allowed.
Yeah, it's crazy how fast it caught on. The internet really did its thing.
Yes.
And, yeah, it must be surreal to see that.
What I found amazing is that I think it was like sort of 2020, he suddenly made a resurgence again, because it was sort of fairly quiet for a while, and suddenly in 2020 he started appearing all over the place again.
I don't think he's gonna die. I don't think he's gonna die.
Joe will never die. Joe is supreme to all. I'm telling you, in like 10, 20, 30 years from now, you will still see Joe around, and I stand on that. I stand on that with all of my 10 toes.
Keeps coming back bigger.
Legends never die. That League of Legends song.
Than last time as well, which is crazy. That one of him with the shades, you know, the that one.
Yes.
That's
that
literally me. That's me, guys.
Was that part
I mean, those shades I actually modeled. That was part of my props back. That pose was one of my
and that's
my
you guys.
poses that I saw.
That's me.
Yeah, I mean that stock.
This is me, and then this is actually no, this might be you guys.
That's how you got him. I mean, that was all included.
Yeah.
So it is kind of funny to see that specific one
Joe
has
Swole.
become so prolific. It's been quite crazy to see how it's been changed. I've always found that with my characters, it's fun to, I think, yeah, this is how people are going to use my character. And I put it out there, and you always have very creative people
Put
who
it out
will
to the
do
world.
something completely crazy with it. And I
trust.
absolutely love it. Especially with Emoji Guy. I created it with enough geometry and mesh to be able to do some fairly extreme morphs, and I kind of hope that people would sort of grab onto that. And...
Joe Bread is real. Oh my God, are you guys seeing this? It's Joe Bread.
And start playing with it. But I mean, I've seen from Thomas the Tank Engine to the hearts that appear all over the place, donuts and all. So it's been fantastic.
Do you remember the first time you ever saw somebody else use it in something interesting online?
I think it was the Thomas the Tank Engine was the one that caught my attention. I was doing a Google search for ideas on something. Can't even remember what I was looking for. And one of the ones that came up was my emoji guy stuck on the front of a train. And so that was the first time I kind of really saw it. But then it grew so exponentially. Eventually, I mean, you search for anything related to emoticons, you would find him. He was everywhere.
Yeah, do you remember when you realized
Thomas
he was going to that next level? Like he was unusually popular? Or was it just a gradual sort of snowball?
It was probably about 2-3 years after he was released. So probably about 2007. I was kind of like, wow, he's still around and people are still using him. And yeah, no, it did surprise me. I actually went on to one of it wasn't Shutterstock, but it was one of the sort of, Shutterstock type image sites. And I was just browsing for whatever it was. But I viewed it by popularity. And he was on the first page of 10 as one of the most popular images. And that was kind of like, wow, I can't believe he's actually still popular. I mean, that was only 2 years down the line, and now it's, 20 years.
Are there any other characters you've made that have gained any sort of infamy or widespread viral attention? Because I wanted to ask you, there are these 2 other models, and they've got the same Toon style. It's actually, I think one's called Toon Penguin, and the other one's called Egbert the Duckling.
Egbert.
They gave off Steve Corder vibes, but obviously I didn't know if they were credited to you. Do you know anything about them? Were you involved with them, or?
Yes, no, those were both mine.
No.
Yeah, so Egbert in particular was very popular, especially with the one where he was still in the egg. So it was just the egg with legs kind of thing. And yeah, people did seem to enjoy him.
Look at him, look at Egbert. He's got a little
there was also a Toon Alien that I created that sort of is all over.
What happened? Nothing. I literally heard a knock on my door. I'm like, ah. But yeah, it was Brother Zoo and Papa Zoo. Tree Ox 005, thank you for the follow and welcome. Thank you. Was it Joe? Yeah, yep. I heard a knock on my door and I literally saw like a floating Joe. And you don't want to know what happened next. It's not Ghost. No, don't say that. No.
It's like a little green alien. He's got almost Shrek-like ears.
He's sticking his tongue out.
Long before Shrek came around, and he had a little spaceship and a little space zapper.
Just a little guy.
And, he's kind of like popped up all over the place. And there was a little dinosaur that I created as well. Dinosaur dragon. I suppose it's more of a dragon. He had the little wings, and yeah, he's also popped up all over the place. And in fact, the one day I went to a grocery store and walked in, and on one of the packets of marshmallows, it had my character printed as part of the packet, and that was like, oh man, that was so cool. And I mean, obviously, I was selling my stuff in America. I'm sitting at the bottom end of Africa, and somehow my little guy has gone to America and been bought by somebody who's used it in marketing, and it's ended up in a shop back in South Africa. I mean, that I found amazing. That same little guy ended up, I went to the movies with my kids at one stage, and there was an advert for a kids club that you could join, and then your kids get like free popcorn or whatever it was. And we're sitting there in front of the big screen, and this little Toon dinosaur comes walking onto the screen. And it was like, oh my God. I think one of the sad
his
things
art is getting ripped off
that
left and
I
right.
create, and the fact that it gets out there, is I don't
actually
see it all.
Joe Lighter?
So quite often somebody will contact me and go like, oh, your whatever character was on this advert, whatever. But because it's been sold in America, quite often that sort of doesn't get all the way back to me here. But it is fun when you happen to see it in a newspaper ad.
That's just how it is for like really popular and marketable characters. Like you can go anywhere, like somewhere very remote in the world, and if they have a market, you will literally find like K-pop demon hunters on a backpack, or Lightning McQueen, or like I don't know whatever Disney character. You will literally find them on a cup, a backpack, a shirt, anywhere. Even Labubus, they like literally make fake Labubus. Lafufus, they make them into cups, bags, like anything. When does the Ozzy X Joe merch drop? Steve, my email is we can get it. We can talk. Steve, you can hit up my DMs. We can collab.
Or in a magazine or whatever.
Yeah, and then that whole Joe coin thing. How did you learn? Were you told about that from someone you knew or anyone on the business side of things? Because that's the most random thing ever.
I actually found that out because you wanted to chat to me.
Yep, Steve didn't even know Joe Coin existed. Now, quick clarification. At the time of this interview, I hadn't found that Dark Whisper Twitter account yet. I came across it a few days later after some more...
Guys, he didn't know. He didn't know about Joe Coin and how these scammers are literally making thousands off of his artwork illegally.
And when I did find it, I sent Steve another email and asked him directly if this was him. To which he replied, and I quote, "I never had a Dark Whisper Twitter account. That account isn't mine." So no, Joe Coin isn't working with Dark Whisper and giving back to the internet. They're lying to you. This isn't him. This whole sunflower thing is a lie. All these old renders are probably just dug up from old obscure forums and image boards, or were just made from scratch to convince people of some legitimacy here. Now, I'm not CoffeeZilla. I'm not going to act like I can put together some savage takedown of a crypto scam here. I can't. I have no clue about crypto. I'm just someone who set out to find Emotoguy's creator and actually found him. These people are claiming they did too.
CoffeeZilla, like, he just hands the part 2 to CoffeeZilla, and CoffeeZilla starts his intro like, "Taking down Joe Coin."
They didn't. Just wanted to make sure that was clarified in this video. Now, back to Steve.
I actually found that out because you wanted to chat to me. So, I mean, I went online to find out,
Really?
Is emoticon really this popular? And I think it was on the Know Your Meme site that they were talking about the Joe Coin. It was like, oh, wow. So, I mean, I didn't actually even know about that.
Second to last question. I wanted to ask if you still have, or if there ever was, any prototype versions of Emotoguy, or any like early renders or previous iterations of him sort of things, or any development images of him that either did exist or you would still have a hold of?
So no, Emotoguy, that was my first model. So apart from having sort of lower resolution versions of him, because everything was designed with subdivision, so the actual original guy was 4 times lower on the polygon count. So apart from that, that was the original version. So there was no prototyping or anything. That was what came out, and that's what was released.
Did you just see it in your mind? That's it. You just brought it to reality like that.
Pretty much. I mean,
I think Lucas over here has something for, Joe, just, popping some ass. I think that's what he's into, because I've literally seen, like, this. How many times have we seen Joe literally throwing some ass out, cheeks out in this video? Like, at least three.
Started with a basic Smarty type shape and played around with getting the character in there, and then add in a lot of geometry where I think people might
more
want
than
to
necessary
experiment and sort of play with his shape. And it was basically a case of when I got it, and I got him smiling with that silly, goofy smile, showing those teeth. It was like, that's him. That's
it. I'm imagining walking into a store and seeing it on packaging or seeing it in the cinema. That's incredible. Yeah, you definitely achieved something with this guy.
It's a very strange feeling walking into a store not expecting to see your own character and seeing it there. I mean, it's something that I'm sort of used to now, because my characters do tend to get all over the place. But the first couple of times I'd actually buy the product.
Yeah.
So just to bring it home.
Put the packaging up on the fridge.
Product price, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
There was lots of marshmallows back then.
Okay, well, I think that just about wraps up all the questions I had. Steve Corder, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate your time. And thanks for the interview, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, cool. It was great hearing from you.
Nice.
I'm glad you found me.
Yeah, somehow, by some miracle, the miracle of Jack Tomlin, I was able to get a hold of you. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Okay. Thanks for your time.
Bye now.
Cheers.
And that is how my conversation with Steve
Joe
Corder ended. Or at least over call, because he did reveal one last little piece of trivia to me over email. a few days ago, actually explaining why that Dark Whisper to 3D Universe name change took place all the way back in June 2006. He said, "By the time I moved all my content over to Daz3D, I felt the name Dark Whisper was too mysterious and not clearly a 3D content creator. I originally considered 3D Tooniverse because of my passion for wacky characters and even registered the domain, but ultimately decided on 3D Universe as that would include non-Toon products too."
True.
So yeah, that just about wraps up my search for and conversation with the creator of the infamous 3D emoticon character, Emoticon. There is literally no recording of Steve Corder's name in association with Emoticon anywhere online before I'm uploading this. If you literally search Steve Corder Emoticon, you get nothing. Like, you get these 3 results, which all have nothing to do with Steve or Emoticon, so internet, now you know. And that also wraps up the most grueling video making process I've ever endured. You know, I've been up until probably 5, 6, or 7 a.m. every night for the last 2 weeks at least, working like 10 or 12-hour days, just making this video, just editing this video. The editing on this video has been a nightmare. A beautiful nightmare. I loved it, but it's been a challenge to say the least. I've really tried to go all out with this one, especially after my last video doing so well.
That's what we're watching, guys. Next week, we're watching this. We're watching where did these weird 3D gifts come from. Actually, wait. What's on the schedule, actually? I don't even know my own schedule. Wait, no, that's literally tomorrow. This is literally tomorrow. System, thank you for the 1,000 bits. Thank you for the 1,000 biddies. That's my food for the day. But yeah, we're gonna watch this tomorrow, actually, unless we watch the Reddit. But wait, it didn't finish.
Which, again, if you watched the last one, thank you so much. This video is me giving it my all. Of course, I managed to get a hold of Steve, which, you know, I've thanked him personally. I actually sent him the video before I'm uploading it, and he loved it. He said he really liked it, so I'm really glad he enjoyed it too. But a last thank you to Steve. He really delivered more than he had to with the interview, and he did not have to come on for that. But he did, and he made this project possible. So again, a big thank you to Steve Corder. If you'd like to support the channel, well, you've already watched up to this point in the video, so you have, with a nice long view. But I do have a membership. It's £2 a month, which I think is about $3. If you'd like to go that extra step and support the channel, please do. I'd really appreciate it. There's no pressure to. It's not an expectation or requirement. I mean, you watching this far into the video is enough support. If you'd like to throw me an extra penny a month, then go ahead. And I think all that is left for me is to thank my members. So a big thank you to Sneezebot8000, Koi13.
Okay, that pretty much wraps it up. That was a crazy video. Oh my god, literally from start to end, I was locked in. I was locked in on Joe, and the lore is crazy. Joe Cinema, Azu Cinema.